I don't really know what's going on over there other than everybody's dumb.
The instant you step out of line, you say something that they don't like and they don't like you personally, they're going to use all those pre-existing laws and they're going to use it on you.
A woman exposed her male genitalia to women and underage girls. That's what happened.
It's pure propaganda and it's super cringe, by the way. It's super cringe.
Some very soothing countdown music. Eric Botlum from TatumReport.com. Eric the Butler. And of course,
Yes,
Andrew
sir.
says TV.com. UOPod.com brings you to our page where you can subscribe for everything. If you're listening on Spotify, Apple, Google, or iHeartRadio, please drop us a review, drop us a follow, and whatever platform you're watching on, whether it be Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, or Getter, please share and subscribe. We are growing.
Like how you put a Twitch at the front end this time.
At the very front, yeah, to satisfy the 0 to 2 people on there. Best podcast on Getter, of course. We are growing every single week, and we've got content coming up for you. So go ahead and drop us a line, but make sure you subscribe and share because that's what helps us the most. Eric, how are you? How's the weather? It's hovering right above freezing today for you last few days.
It's actually starting to get hot here. I mean, it's not hot, but it's not winter anymore, right? Like you could 100% go out in a t-shirt right now in Arizona and you'll be fine. I think we're looking at 75. It's basically perfect. This is the calm before the storm. So in 6 weeks, it's going to be 112 degrees. So we have to enjoy this moderate temperature. This is worth the price of entry right here. And then you start to melt in a couple months.
Well, up here in Canada, as Tucker Carlson explained to us the other day, I'll take out the recycling and everything and in a t-shirt and shorts. I'll unload and load a car. My brain is able to tell myself that if I know I'm not going to be out there for longer than 5 minutes, then the cold does not bother me. I try to channel that guy who's been on Joe Rogan who says he can moderate his body temperature through breathing exercises. So that's basically where I'm at in life, is controlling my own body temperature, and I think I'm getting pretty good at it. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I can understand. I mean, when I lived in South Dakota, I could take the I mean, I get where you're coming from. I'm picking up what you're putting down. I could take the trash out. I could take the trash out in -10 because you knew you were just going to the dumpster. You go back, but obviously, after it's kind of almost invigorating a little bit, but you don't want to do it for
I
long,
agree.
obviously.
Now, here we have garbage, 4 bags allowed where I live. Recycling, unlimited amount of recycling. Now, there's 4 of us in this house. We put out about 4 recycling bins a week, and we see the people on our street putting out like less than 1, like a non-filled recycling bin. And I'm thinking, what are you doing? Are you throwing everything in the garbage? These are not people they're not health, like environment conscious people. Just trust me on that one. And I'm just wondering, where's everything going? Are they throwing it into the schoolyard, which I'm tempted to do? But then we also have green bins, Eric, which is, compost. So we got a lot of bins going, a lot of crooked government programs it's creating jobs, at least, So
Yeah,
I don't
it reminds
feel
me
too bad.
of California. right? Like they will fine you if you put the wrong type of recycle. I mean, my mom in Oakland, California has like 3 different bins. Like, so there's trash, and then 2 different kinds of recycling. And I remember growing up there and kind of following those rules, but it's been so long now that I don't even understand why they're separating. And then you get to a place like Arizona where it doesn't happen that way, and you realize that it's all a scam. But
Well,
sure,
of course it is.
glass half
But,
full is creating jobs. So I agree with that.
exactly. See, no one's gonna find you here, but you don't want to piss off the recycling gods and the guys who are picking up your stuff. Last week they didn't pick up our recycling. We didn't know why. So you gotta be weary of why and what you're doing. And before we lose too many viewers, on the recycling beat, I said the word pissed off. I don't think that goes against YouTube's new swearing rules, which include, and I'm reading now, that they
Well,
are no
don't
longer
read the-
treating what?
Well, don't read the rules.
I'm
Don't read
not
the
gonna-
words they're telling you
I'm
not
not
to
going to
read.
read the words. They said we are no longer treating all profanity equally. So the B word, the D word, which is a bag, the A word, and the S word. So I guess I could be saying they're all now eligible for monetization. And as long as you don't use the F word in the title or repeatedly throughout the episode, it should be fine to go. Having said that, let's talk Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods, notoriously, a womanizer, let's say. He had all of his women all across the country. Hey, it's Tiger. The Dave Chappelle voice. Hey, it's Tiger here. Maybe don't leave these voicemails, Tiger, but so he's got a new girlfriend, right? And she is suing him for $30 million. And this is a story written by me on theblaze.com, everybody. Every day you can find my articles there. And the way Tiger Woods broke up with her, in her own words, is absolutely hilarious.
In her words.
In her words, because what happened is she filed a new complaint, which revealed that she was suing him since last October. Excuse me. So she filed a complaint, and it turns out they're adding like a complaint to the lawsuit that they started in October 2022 for $30 million. And she's alleging, and tell me if this makes sense to you, Eric, because I want to know if you think this is worth $30 million. She had a few years left on her argument is that they had a few years left on her tenancy agreement, and that they misappropriated $40,000 in cash towards her of her cash. And she somehow thinks that's worth $30 million. So she thinks that they kicked her out illegally of her own residence because she was living with Tiger Woods, and she's seeking $30 million in damages somehow. He even had her she was the general manager of his restaurant, which is like insane. So I'll read a bit of this for you in the part where she gets broken up with. Tiger Woods' ex, Erica Herman.
This is perfect segue from taking out the trash.
Exactly. That's what I was going for. Filed a complaint against Woods that claimed a legal entity controlled by the golfer violated her tenancy agreement and owes her $30 million in damages. Golf Digest, which you don't usually see being referenced in the sports world, but I do. Complaint filed against Jupiter Island Irrevocable Homestead Trust, controlled by Tiger Woods, alleges that she violated the Florida Residential Landlord Tenant Act. So, when the golf legend broke up with her, Herman says, so this is her words via the complaint they filed, by trickery, agents of the defendant convinced the plaintiff to pack a suitcase for a short vacation. And when she arrived at the airport, they told her she'd been locked out of her residence. So they took her to the airport thinking that I'm guessing that she was going to go meet Tiger somewhere for vacation. And they're just like, yeah, you can't come back to the house. So that's sort of where the lawsuit comes into play, Eric, is they're saying that they basically kicked her out of the house and she wasn't able to go back to where she lives. And what they allege is that she was like pressured into it by lawyers without legal counsel to aid in her emotional moment. So I'm guessing they said emotional moment because, she's in a poor judgment state of mind there. And then that they misappropriated and removed her stuff and made defamatory statements about how she makes money. I'm not sure what exactly that means, but the defendant's agents removed plaintiff's personal belongings from her residence and misappropriated in excess of 40 grand in cash that belonged to her, and making scurrilous, which sounds like something Cardi B would say, scurrilous, defamatory allegations about how she obtained the money. And Tiger Woods' trust responded to her claiming that she had 5 years remaining and that she had an oral agreement for a tenancy. So she's saying that she basically was agreed to stay there, which I don't know how you have an oral agreement with your boyfriend and they say, "Oh, you're gonna have you have 5 years left on this lease, young lady," when you're in a relationship. I don't think anyone would say that. But they said in reality, Miss Herman was invited to live in the residence while she was in a relationship with her former boyfriend. And Eric, this is where it comes in where I realized that Tiger Woods' real name is Eldrick. I don't know if you knew that.
I did know that, but I used to love Tiger Woods as a kid.
Used
I
to.
don't know if you watch
Interesting.
my I mean, I still rock with Tiger Woods. I don't know if you saw my story recently. You can see my golf swing is still immaculate.
Interesting. So she said, or they said, she continues to live in the residence with his 2 children with Mr. Woods. After Mr. Woods recently terminated the relationship, Ms. Herman was advised that she was no longer welcome in the residence. So her side is she had some sort of agreement that she's allowed to stay there. And then Tiger Woods' people say they just broke up and he kicked her out. And then the last interesting point, Eric, is that when she filed the complaint in October, she said there wasn't any sexual abuse allegations. And then when they filed the next complaint in March 2023, she checked the box of yes, there is sexual abuse allegations in this. So take that what you were. And then we asked a guy from Outkick Sports Company. He says he's more creative than Spielberg after this plot. So questions to you, Eric, is does she deserve this money? Do you think she's entitled to something because they kicked her out of the house, or you break up and you get out, basically?
No, obviously she's not owed anything, but Tiger Woods is clearly going to have a target on his back, right? The man, I don't know if he's a millionaire, billionaire, whatever it is. It's quite obvious he's going to have a target on his back. My question, I have something in my nose. Jeez, embarrassing. My question is, they broke up in October, so what took so long? So obviously, like you mentioned, it is very strange that you have a landlord tenant agreement with your boyfriend or girlfriend. They weren't even married. So maybe if they were married, she'd be entitled to something. They weren't, so doesn't seem like she's owed anything. It's certainly not $30 million, right? Like maybe you kick her $30,000 just because you're Tiger Woods and you're filthy rich and you want her out of your hair so that pays for her rent for the next 6 months or whatever it might be. But what happened between October and March, right? Like if you filed this complaint, but so that's when you broke up and you were still living there under this 5-year agreement lease, it's all really confusing. I don't quite understand what happened between October and March. How do you explain that?
Well, what I'm seeing basically is I don't know what happened, obviously, but they filed another complaint here, and maybe they're bringing up sexual, like if the difference between the two filings is sexual harassment or sexual assault, that would be the reason for new,
But
filing of complaints and wanting it to be taken public. Maybe she didn't get what she wanted, and she said, "Well, we're going to take this public now,"
but
and now I'm
were
going
they
to add
together
sexual.
though? They were
I
together in October. They broke up, and then
I would
I don't
have to
understand.
assume not. I mean, if she filed it then, and that was the reason she filed it, I don't know. They just added a complaint. Basically, they filed a complaint, and then somebody must have noticed, or like whatever happened, made it public about her suing him in October, and there they are together. And I mean, Eric, I'm no lawyer, but she's got the crazy in her eyes.
Well, look,
You love me, don't you, Tiger?
I will admit, like, I am a Tiger Woods fan for, like, Tiger Woods is like almost up there with Kanye, right? Like, I think he's a great
Interesting.
guy, so I'm gonna be completely biased on this. Like, I'm not gonna. There's really very little. Look, and nobody's perfect. We all know nobody's perfect. I don't think either of us have ever pretended that anybody was perfect. But when you're talking about this woman filing this complaint, there's just nothing that you can say to me, and I will admit that that's going to tell me that this is all on the level, right? It clearly is a money grab. There's just not like there's nothing you can say that will convince me that this woman is rightfully deserving of $30 million after a breakup with Tiger Woods. It's obviously a greed play. It's a money play. I mean, what excuse could you come up with that would make me believe? I mean, what could you possibly say to convince somebody this woman is owed $30 million?
I don't know. The problem with a lot of these laws is see again, they're not
They weren't
married.
even married.
So
Yeah.
like you would have to argue that like her alimony would be at play. But if you're not married, I don't know the laws. What I do know is because my girlfriend asked me about this, like why, like I forget what she said, but it was like something along the lines of why wouldn't she get out, or like why would he need to tell her to get out? And I remembered that John Cena once talked about this, the fact that he had a girlfriend that was living with him and she refused to leave. So henceforth after that, he got any person that came to live with him to sign an agreement that said that they had to leave as soon as he told them to. So, like, I think what might happen with celebrities is make me leave. Like, what are you going to do? Like, it's going to become a story for you. It's going to become a problem for you, and you can't make me leave. So maybe like Tiger's runabout way here of pretending that she's going on vacation and dropping her off at the airport is frankly hilarious because he probably knew that this woman wasn't going to leave. That's my thinking.
And I would probably venture to say, well, it's painfully obvious she is not owed $30 million. It's just a big ask, right? So
Tiger
we'll
needs
ask.
to exercise better judgment on these women.
Fair. That's fair, right? But again, you're always going to have a target on your back. Like if you're just swimming in that much cash, it's almost impossible for you to trust anybody. But I think that they are asking for $30 million and they will settle for two. Right?
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
like it doesn't make any sense. And for this woman who, what was she? If they're claiming she was making her money in these, less than upstanding ways, what was she doing? OnlyFans. Without, I mean, what could it?
I don't know. She had a job. I wrote at the end there. Herman, her last name, was employed as a general manager at Woods' restaurant, the Woods Jupiter.
Oh,
So he had her as a general manager, which is probably like 100 grand at least a year job. He gifts her this job at a restaurant, unless he met her because she was the general manager. I don't know, but even if you're just like, oh, I was going to be working there for the next 10 years, that's still like maximum like $1 million probably.
yeah.
Who
So
knows?
look, obviously Tiger can. He's not going to come out of pocket $30 million, but it would take him nothing, a snap of the fingers to give her $2 million just to get it to go away, perhaps. Which is
Just
sad, but
snap
that's
your
where we are.
fingers. Just Little
Uh,
John. Is that Little John and the East Side Boys? Or
Lil
do you
Jon and East.
step?
Yeah, I think
You can.
E40 was actually in that song.
Yes,
He
E40.
featured
It's
on
a
that
very
song.
good
Yeah.
point.
I don't know how we got there, but snap
You
your
said snap your fingers. Yeah.
of course. All right.
So our next topic is Iggy Azalea, who, like,
That's Iggy?
in all my life, I would just be like, she is one of the worst celebrities because, and people might not like this term, but
That
she's a
is
wigger.
she looks completely different. I can't even see her eyes, but this is not what I remember her looking like. She's
Well, the
going like
thing
Little
is
Kim.
she is an Australian woman who tries to talk like a stereotypical black woman from I don't know what place in the US. Maybe like I don't even know. I haven't listened to her for years. Like I haven't heard her speak for years. So I'd have to pinpoint the accent, Eric. But
Can you pull up the clip of her on Sway when the guy calls in? Oh no, he I think he
I
drops an
do know.
F-bomb, so maybe we don't wanna play that. But before we get into this, I'm sorry, I'm gonna get off track a little bit. Are you familiar with Suki Hana? Suki
No.
Hana, oh my word. This is like one of these new rappers who's in the Cardi B lane of just like shock rap.
Is this
And
with two O's or a U?
no, Sukihana. She was recently kicked off Instagram. Um,
Or
I mean, talk about just being a degenerate. I don't know exactly why. We don't know exactly why she was kicked off Instagram, but I found out about her because I follow this like San Francisco watchdog group, and they kind of track the corruption in San Francisco, and they kind of track it's a very Asian heavy Instagram account. And apparently this woman has some what you might call anti-Asian rap lyrics. So
oh, I think I vaguely heard about this.
this woman has some funny line about it,
Oh, I've seen like this song used in memes and stuff, I think.
Really?
Well, I guess all we can ask for at this point, Eric, is for the rules to be applied like evenly, isn't
Yeah,
it?
well, I just it wasn't even really about her being kicked off Instagram as much as it is this woman makes Cardi B look like a church girl. Like this is through the roof, bro. Like I scroll look, I saw the Instagram account get banned. I was looking at it one morning like my jaw was on the floor with some of the stuff that she was posting and like some of the pictures and the videos. Like this is borderline pornography, basically. I don't even know if we can say that. And that's
You
probably why
can.
she got kicked off. Probably why she got kicked off Instagram. But it's just, I mean, the shock value is through the roof, right? So we used to think that WAP, like, oh, that's risque, that's edgy. This woman is just through the roof. Sorry, when we're in the realm of despicable, I don't know, hood rats, maybe. I don't even know what the word is for it. And that's what Iggy Azalea is. So it just reminded me of that. Sorry, we've gotten
Well, that's what
completely
she
off track.
wants to be. Like, show me where she's from in Australia where people talk like that. And if you want to come out and be like, I'm playing a character, I mean, that would be perceived even worse. She has to pretend like she's genuine, or else everybody's going to come down on her even worse. But I haven't watched this clip, but um, the comment is Iggy Azalea explaining how doing OnlyFans gives her power and control she's always wanted. And then it goes on to say, it's so sad to see celebrities promoting selling your body. And if you can't hear it, let me know.
I made record labels so much money off my body. I made a lot of people so much money off my body. And I got the smallest cut off my own fucking body and my own work and my own ideas. And I don't think I have to say sorry about the fact that I want to commodify my own shit. It's been commodified and I wasn't even the main fucking benefactor of it. So fuck this.
I'm like control. I want control over
Oh my
this.
And I enjoy it. I'm gonna do it anyway. That's the thing. I'm doing it anyway. I'm gonna do it anyway. I'm gonna post pictures like that anyway because I like it and I think they're beautiful and I like my breasts. Fuck, sorry. And they're fake and they look fucking good and I like them. And I'm happy with them and I like my body. I like my body. I liked my body before. I liked my face before and I like it now. I like myself. I never hated myself.
Okay. So
I made record labels
what
so
we
much.
have here, Eric, is two women sitting and justifying not only plastic surgery. There's a lot of levels here to this, obviously, about self-delusion here, and I'm no psychiatrist, but I think, Eric, if for those of us who have lived through 2016 till now, if you didn't lose your mind because of Trump or from other things, and some of the things are meant to lose your mind, like you always point out, some of the things in these media are meant to make you lose your mind. But if you kind of held it together, it doesn't take much when you see stuff like this to be like, she got plastic surgery, but she also wants us, like in her face, but she also wants us to believe that she was happy with her face before. So that's one point of self-delusion there.
Which is a lie. Yeah, that's a lie.
Yeah. So, and then the other part is, it's okay to sell my body because other people used to do it on my behalf. So, I mean, nobody forced you to do this, Iggy Azalea. Nobody forced you to. I don't know if I've ever even seen one of her music videos. Maybe her first one or something when I was a kid.
Fancy, right? The one where it looks like Clueless.
Are they saying that they put a gun to your head and then you had to dress skankily or something? I don't know. So it didn't have to happen, number one. And then number two, you're saying that just because it happened before, then it's okay to do it now. That would be like saying a person gets trafficked into prostitution or something and then say, I might as well be a prostitute again because it happened to me before. Something bad happened to me. She's admitting that it was bad. She's admitting that that it was done to her without her consent. But now that she's doing it on her own, that makes it okay. So like that just doesn't fundamentally make sense. You crashed your car into me. That was bad. It was an accident. But because you crashed your car into me on purpose this time, that makes it okay. So that fundamentally doesn't make sense. And then the last part, of course, is the obvious part of being like, oh, it's great that I do this because it's empowering. Like that makes no sense. People would respect you more if you just said, I didn't really care. But when you start to make these obvious, like bad excuses about this, about why you want to literally be like a porn star or a stripper, like that's what this is. I won't say you're a prostitute. Well, it depends on your definition. I don't know the exact definition, but when you're making these excuses and it's so painfully obvious to the onlookers such as us and everybody else, that's why this tweet exists of her like being criticized like this? What do you think?
Well, this of course reminds me of a couple memes, right? It's like it's like the crying Wojak with the happy face mask on top of it.
Yes.
Like that's literally what this is. It's like she's clearly been, you know, I don't want to say beaten, but she's been like
Broken. Like,
broken and degraded.
mentally?
Yeah, on the inside that but she puts this, I mean, almost a literal mask, right? She's gotten this plastic surgery through the roof. She looks unrecognizable from the video that I know her from, which is called Fancy. And I'll admit, the song wasn't that bad. The song wasn't that bad. Okay.
Well, you hear her real voice now. Like this is like people don't have accents when they sing, like when they're British or Australian when they sing for the most part. Like you could think of Kylie Minogue was I'm trying to think of Australian people. Kylie Minogue was one singer, but you don't develop a new accent is what I'm saying.
Well,
When I sing, I don't sound British, you know?
Well, I don't know. You could talk about a guy like Shaggy, or I don't know. They put on this patois, this Jamaican thing. So look, whatever with that. So there's the Wojak meme of her with the the crying face with the happy face on top of it, and then there's the other one that I just saw the other day. I wish I would have screenshot. I wish I would have saved it, but it's a show I've never watched. Actually, I thought it was incredibly boring. I don't know why it was so popular, but Don Draper, I believe his name is, from Mad Men. He's doing stand backs, like, we'll call it women's empowerment, where ladies sell their bodies, sell photos of themselves for the price of a cheeseburger, and we'll call it women's empowerment. That's what this reminds me of. So we're selling it to you as though this is good, but it's you on the internet selling your body, selling photos of your body for the price of a cheeseburger, right? I mean, because cheeseburgers are expensive. I don't know if you've been to Five Guys recently. No pun intended.
You think we got
Right.
Five Guys up here, Eric? What are you, crazy?
You don't have Five Guys?
There's a couple of them. I've never been one though.
Oh, it's good, but it is expensive, bro. So
No, we don't have Sonic or Checkers.
I've never been to either one of those, so I don't know anything about those. But I do know that Five Guys does taste good. But I mean, you go into Five Guys, you're like, cheeseburger, fries, chocolate shake, and they're like, $33.50. You're like, dude, what? Like,
dude, that's how I don't know. I know we're on a tangent here, but if you want to get a fast food meal here for two people now, you're spending $30.
It's crazy. You might as well just sit down at a real restaurant. And the last thing here, bro, I don't know how to put this nicely, but who the hell is paying for this, bro? Who is paying for this? Like, really? You to get a photo of Iggy Azalea's tits, you're gonna like what? Dog, you guys, you have to reprioritize if you are spending money. Like, who is this for? Who is Iggy Azalea's actual fan base? Is it young women? Is it young men? Who's actually paying for this? How is this profitable for her? Honest question.
It has to be like, I don't know how this is profitable for her, but for her fan base, I would have to think that it's like trashy white girls who like Catch Me Outside girl, basically. Girls that aren't black that, really want to be in the worst.
Cash Me Outside girl, is that maybe I'm mistaken on this and you could fact check me, but isn't that the girl who notoriously made an OnlyFans the day she turned 18 and then said that the people who subscribed on the first day should have been arrested, basically?
Yeah, that's right. Isn't that a more respectable opinion than Iggy Azalea's?
But was that her? Bad
Yes.
Baby? Okay, so she's literally done the same thing. Now, look, I wouldn't for a split second say that Cash Me Outside girl, look, maybe they have a crossover demo, but she's doing this too, so I highly doubt she's paying a subscription to Iggy Azalea's OnlyFans.
All I was saying is that these are the type of girls that would listen to her music. I don't know the OnlyFans audience. Did you watch that Danny Mullen video where he goes and visits somebody who operates girls' OnlyFans and answers their questions for them?
No, I did not see. I did watch his from today, but I didn't see the one you're talking about. I didn't yet.
But he goes to some guy's house, and the guy's job, which he now has a team for, he has a team of guys who now answer girls' OnlyFans DMs. So it's like these creepy guys who sign up for OnlyFans are sad, I'll say. That it's a guy answering the messages. Then
yeah, can I just say, look,
you can.
I'm incredibly old in this sense. Like, I do not understand the OnlyFans. I do not even the online dating scene. It just seems toxic and poisonous. It doesn't seem beneficial to anybody. But that's just me showing my age, bro. Like, I can't do it. Like, I don't understand OnlyFans. I don't understand this. I don't know. People don't use Tinder anymore? I assume it's all just bots and
I
Transformers,
don't know.
like literal, spam bots and
The girls' side is just all
trannies.
tranny.
Yeah. Like, what's
Wait
that?
a minute.
So I'm just feeling incredibly old. Like, I realize there's a market for everything, but who in their right mind is paying for this stuff? Who in their right mind is swiping through Tinder in 2023? You know it's all fake.
I don't know, man. This escalated here, so that tweet that we had the video from is quoted by, this is just a random account, but it goes somewhere. She literally gave her opinion, it says, and it's as real as it gets. And this B word want to tear her down, two crying emojis, goofy energy. So that was in response to the person who posted it. And then she responds with, yes, I want to tear down hooers promoting selling their bodies online to creepy old men. And that's fine. And I think I noticed Iggy Azalea responds down here with a link to her OnlyFans, which is very sad. And we already discussed why it's sad. And Iggy Azalea responds to it and say, "Hey, there she is. LMAO." Like, you can read the, like you said, the mask in this text. Stop calling your husband a creepy old man, babe. He's super sweet to me. And the thing,
Ew.
yeah, like that, you can see the pain in the text, like the fake laugh, like, because it's not this funny. Like an LOL would have been appropriate. Like, and then he said this. So that's the funny thing, is that I know Josiah, and he's a young guy, and he's very conservative Christian. So her even attempt at like a bad dig here is just so far off from the truth. But I don't think she's going to respond to this one.
This is also, though, this is the demise, right? This is, if whatever, Isabella Riley and her husband both are conservative, fine, whatever. You're playing in their mud. You're in their field. You're you're arguing on Twitter with a literally fake woman, right? Like, she admits that, like, oh, I liked myself before, but I went under the knife and paid thousands of dollars to change it because
Right.
I liked it so much. And look, and this is part of the reason, admittedly, I'm not on Twitter. I don't care for Twitter because it's just a cesspool of nonsense. You get nowhere. How many times you're on Twitter? How many times have you had a constructive conversation on Twitter? And I'll admit too that I have had a couple of decent exchanges in the comments and in DMs on Instagram. I don't use Twitter, so I can't say I've ever done that. But where does this get anybody? This is just them slinging mud at each other on Twitter. And you haven't really, like what Isabella and her husband, they think they're going to like sun. This is completely unproductive as far as I'm concerned. I guess that's the point I'm making. And it's just like, it's really pathetic for everybody. And I do, to take this another step further away from where we started, I do blame Twitter for basically creating the entire toxic, as some people would like to say, environment that we live in. This LGBTQ barbecue movement, I blame on Twitter. Right, all of this stuff is basically stems from Twitter. Right, like, it sounds like a bridge too far, but it's not. You can trace all of this. Occupy Wall Street, 99%, all of this stuff, people capitulating. Remember, there was a time when, if you had enough Twitter followers, you could say, the airport kiosk worker was mean to me, and then they'd give you a free flight. Like, this all stems from that. And you got these people pretending like they're the most based conservatives on the planet while they're arguing with Iggy Azalea on Twitter. And I don't buy any of it from either of you. You guys are both annoying as far as I'm concerned. But here we are talking about it. So I guess, W for them, L for us. I don't know.
It's the celebrity episode, Eric. To answer your question, no, I don't attempt to have any conversations on Twitter. Basically, my Twitter use is like all my social media use, which is post things that I've done and hope people like it. And on
Fair
Twitter,
enough.
add in I'm looking for news stories on there because it's a centralized. But I do go to these websites. It's easier. It's just that the difference between opening browsers, this is how they get me. Opening multiple browsers on my phone is more annoying than just swiping back to Twitter and going to, CNN. And, MSNBC is a great source if you want like the inverse of what the actual news story is. So if I see them angry about something, I know that I can probably find like what the actual thing is in there. That's probably the correct. That's probably correct. They're probably angry about something that's good, and that's how you find something through MSNBC.
And I
It's
think,
always this one guy who blogs for them that's like, this is racist.
is
This
it
is
the
the
black
most
guy with the
hateful
little
thing.
high top?
Yeah.
He's just a corn dog.
MSNBC is the worst. Russell Brand is correct. It is the worst. It is not like they aren't in the business of straight news. And is that a problem in it of itself? No. But when you're Microsoft together with NBC, you would think that they would want to be publishing news instead of just, I think, objectively speaking, far left or progressive opinion. It's all of their shows are opinion. All of their writers are heavily, it's like blogging to the extreme, like an angry teens blog. And that's why Joy Reid got caught with stuff in her former blog that she says was hacked and couldn't possibly have been her.
Obviously a lie. Obviously. I mean,
These are just the people they employ. It's insane.
But here's what they do though, right? And I've mentioned this on my own channel a number of times, but when they say something, just by the fact of them saying it makes it true. Just because
That's
it
the
came
intention.
from, that's the intention. So just that it came from their head, their mouth, their keyboard makes it true. And and they really believe there is no opposite. They truly believe, I think, that there is no other opinion to what they say. It doesn't matter that what they say today is the exact opposite, a complete 180 from what they said 6 months ago, like New York now saying you have to take your mask off to go into a store because people are getting robbed left and right.
Are they saying that now? That's
they're-
insane.
Eric
That was
Adams.
Go ahead.
No, this right. It's the exact 180. They are literally saying, and this story is actually like about a week old now, though, to the point where the NYPD and the mayor are saying they are urging businesses to force people to take their mask off to cut back on robberies. In a direct 180 from what they were saying a year ago.
They knew that this is like, you can say like who's in charge and the power at the top of everything, but they know the people that were implementing these things, that implement things like in California where $900 robbing something of $900 is okay, or in New York where somebody can try to kill you and steal your stuff and you're not supposed to be able to defend yourself. They knew that covering people's faces, like in the George Floyd riots, was to increase criminality. There's no way you could say, because in Canada, there's something just fell again. Something falls every episode.
Every week. Every week.
There's an extra charge here that if you cover yourself while robbing a place, committing a burglary, that there's an extra charge. So obviously, because it's harder to catch you, they want to make it another way to punish you. So that's already known. It's already known that putting on a mask makes it harder to catch a person, and in some jurisdictions is an added degree of criminality. And they had to have known that. They knew it all along, and there was no mask studies that came out that said it was amazing, because nobody wanted to do a real mask study. They just relied on stuff from before that said, it could go either way. And now they're saying, oh, this thing that we knew, we're going to need to force you. So we force you to wear this mask. And now, even though we're not going to say that it's safe to take off the mask, we want you to take it off because people are robbing people with it on. Like, if they were just like, they would never say take off the mask because it's safe. They would only say take off the mask because too many people are complaining about it.
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy. But I want to go back to one thing about this Twitter beef between Riley and Azalea.
Go ahead.
And I think and your point about MSNBC as well. And I don't know if maybe you saw one of my recent reels where I was kind of talking about the fact that on the radio here in Arizona, and I don't know if it's everywhere, but they are sort of, as the establishment likes to say, normalizing heart problems. And I said in that reel that I realize I'm probably one of the few people who still listens to the radio. And on that same note, I am probably one of the few people who goes straight to these websites just to surf through, just to see what they're saying, right? So I have eliminated Twitter from my daily, you know, search for information. I don't use it in the same way that I don't. So I can go to MSNBC, I can go to the New York Post, I can go to CNN without looking at Twitter, and I don't know if that just puts me in this category of, you know, in the minority, so to speak, right? So yeah, if it's that first one there, yeah, I don't know if you wanted to play it, but yeah, I realize that perhaps I'm still doing things. That's why I hate Twitter, because I'm old. I hate. Yeah, are you gonna play it? Is there a sound? Person on the planet who still listens to the radio in the car, and maybe I'm off base with this one, but it does seem like I am hearing more commercials trying to normalize heart problems and increased risk. So just shut up and take another pill. And maybe this was happening the entire time. I just didn't know because I was commuting by train, probably listening to Kanye West until one of my AirPods fell into the train tracks. But it does align perfectly with this new agenda of everything will give you a bum ticker. Too much exercise, the keto diet, video games, low-calorie ice cream, and of course climate change. But there is one thing that every single scientist, every single expert agrees will not give you a bum ticker.
Yeah.
So that's just
really appealing to us white kids with the Green Day there.
Oh yeah, I don't know. It ironically it came on the radio, and I was like, oh, I like this song, so I put it in the background. But yeah, so that's me just saying, like, I am trying my hardest as I get older and older to reject this new way of doing every single thing as long as I possibly can, bro. So I'm not gonna take your I'm not gonna take your Twitter stuff. I'm not gonna do your online day. I'm not gonna do any of that, bro. I would rather die an old grumpy old man than just capitulate to what they want. Look, obviously there's some things that we have to get with the times, right? Like, and I'm willing to do it sometimes when it makes sense, but sometimes it just doesn't. And getting into that cesspool of Twitter just doesn't make sense to me personally.
I do miss the days where when we were lads, you go on the computer and you had the websites you'd visit all the time. Yeah, I'd go to like video games, I'd go to sports, I'd go even to the Joe Rogan forums, the Joe Rogan message boards in like 2009. And that's where I'd find documentaries to watch. The giant list where everyone would post documentaries, and that's where I'd go. Those were the days, I'm not gonna lie. The social media platforms are designed to suck your time. It's designed to make it so that you stay on there no matter what. That's why some of them have like, are you sure you want to go to a link that's not on this website? Like, yeah, it's just that extra layer to try to get it to you. But yeah, if they were deleted the next day and I don't know what, I guess only YouTube would exist and Rumble to exist as video platforms, I wouldn't be mad. No, I wouldn't be mad. I would think it'd be for the betterment of society. You have phones. You can message anyone you want. You can make group chats. You can make forums. You can, like, every website, any person who's interested in something, there's a website and a community for you.
I do miss the forum days, like you said. I miss the message boards. Like, that's how I used to learn about sneaker releases. That's how I used to, you know, like, I don't know if you remember Nike Talk, which, fun fact, Method Man was an early investor in the sneaker community. Nike Talk was just fun fact there. Shout out Method Man.
A Jackass and Bam Margera message board. It was a different time, you know?
Different time.
And speaking of sport, which I'm not sure we were speaking about there, but speaking for the celebrity episode of Unauthorized Opinion, they're always watching Stephen A. Smith says to suspended Ja Morant from the NBA. So what happened was Ja Morant, who's got a ridiculous contract, I'll find out how much it was, $231 million it could get up to. It's currently at like 100 something. I don't know where that was when I put it in, but it could be up to $231 million. And I think it was only if he makes the All-Star game, which is ridiculously low expectation. They just want him to be the best player on the team, I guess, is what they expect.
I think I might have an unpopular opinion on this John Morant thing. So I don't know where most people are standing on this. I think.
I'm gonna
Anyways,
play this.
continue. Yeah.
Shared on his Instagram Live early Saturday morning. In it, Morant is flashing what appears to be a gun inside a nightclub, holding it to the side of his face. Morant has issued an apology to his family, his teammates, his coaches, and fans, saying he does take full responsibility for his actions. The 23-year-old also says he's going to take some time to get help and learn better methods of dealing.
So obviously that's stupid to assume that he actually needs to take some time away to consider better methods. That's just so it'll all blow over, I think. So you've got this guy who's extremely rich, extremely talented, and he thought it was young, and he thought it was a good idea to brandish his pistol in a nightclub for it was a 2-second video. Even if you were doing that, why would you put it on social media? Is what I think. And then Stephen A. Smith said, basically, the NBA has so many resources and so much money is put into you. They do keep tabs on you. And he thought about how he covered Allen Iverson, and Allen Iverson went to jail when he was 17 because people said that he was involved in a riot where people threw chairs at people in a bowling alley, even though he's seen on camera walking away from it. Who knows? I wasn't there. But the point was that Allen Iverson used to hang out with some shady characters. And for a guy making as much money as he was, he basically had to come to a realization that people are going to judge him based off of the other people around him. Now, I'm not going to. I don't think a lot of people are going to. It's mainly because of advertisers, and advertisers don't want to be pumping money into a person, place, or thing that's brandishing pistols. But at the same time, I mean, they do it for video games and movies. So what I think is I'm literally making up and coming into the realization right now, Eric Butler, is that probably the reason they don't want him to be involved with guns is because they don't want to promote guns in the sense that they don't believe that people should have guns. So that's my new stance. I just came up with it right now. I haven't really thought it out, but that's where I'm standing right now, Eric. How about you?
That it's funny you said that, because that's what I was saying, right? This is an establishment play, right? Because do you think for 1 second that John Morant is 23 years old. He's known for slam dunking on people, right? He's high flying, crazy athlete. Do you think the kids that follow John Morant are going to be like, I don't like him anymore because he flashed a gun in his video? No, they don't care. It's the establishment. It's the blob that doesn't want to. And I can understand that you don't want kids on this level. For some reason, you don't want kids to be swayed by this cool young guy with a gun, but you don't care if that happens when a rapper does it, right? It's the same market. It's kind of the same demo, as racist and mean as that might sound. The same kids that are following John Morant and want to buy a pair of John Morant shoes are the same kids that are listening to Cardi B and the same kids that are listening to Migos and Travis Scott and all that stuff, right? So it's okay when they do it, but it's not okay when John Morant does it for some reason, right? And it's the kids. I don't believe that there's any kid in the country who is looking at that and say, I don't like John Morant anymore, I'm going to go burn his jersey. No, it's the people, the powers that be, that are saying, we don't want you to look. He's not from Tennessee. He plays for Tennessee. I don't know what the weapons laws are like there, but they don't want a popular guy to be seen with a gun because that's their agenda. It has nothing to do with the actual fans. They are telling the fans that you don't like this guy now because he has a gun. What they should be more angry about, if I'm honest, is him, and is these photos that have leaked now of him, getting a lap dance or whatever. If anything, if you're going to be mad at anything, maybe it's that, right? Maybe you want him to be a little bit more. So you want him to be family friendly and not have a gun, but do you care
But they're okay with that stuff too?
Would he be exact? So would they be suspending him for 5 games or 10 games or whatever it is if he were just at a strip club? No, because that would be fine, right? So it's just, even though that's just as unfamily friendly, so to speak. I don't know. The whole thing is a complete mess, and I'm just so jaded to the point where this almost makes me like him more. Just because they're coming after him, right? And he's 23 years old. He did something silly, right? And you could say, yo, all right, my bad. Looking back at it, I probably shouldn't have done that. There's a lot of kids that look up to me. That was wrong, and I'll do better. But all this talk about like, I'm going to go get help and I take full responsibility and the NBA is going to investigate. Investigate what, bro? You're just wasting time and money. And then Powerade pulls their deal. I don't know if that's in your article there, but Power.
No.
I don't know if they pulled the deal, but they put him on some sort of suspension or whatever. Like, so he was selling Powerade. I know that's your favorite sports drink.
Bullshit.
And they pulled that off or they put him on some sort of leave, some sort of suspension. But it's all just so manipulative because you can have a rap video that is targeting the same demographic. In a 3-minute video, they will literally point weapons directly at the cameraman. Give that man a record deal. And this guy does it. He's approximately the same age. He's 23 years old. He's got the dreadlocks. And how we know, bro, is as stereotypical as it might sound, we've known for decades. How many times have we seen a NBA player try to be a rapper? From Shaq to Kobe, Dame Lillard. I mean,
Ron Artest.
It's one and the same. So if that man drops a mixtape, this story means nothing. But if he slam dunks on another basketball player, it deserves an investigation. It doesn't make any sense to me.
It's true. And the more that I think about it, the more I agree with you. So thank you. But the idea that this is not okay. On one hand, Ja Morant, you should know that you're going to get in trouble if you do something like this. And it's not worth risking, as I'm looking at it, $192 million. You're going to walk away with $125 million or something out of this, which is 5 generations worth of money at least, if not more, for nobody to work and have that money.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they're saying this isn't family friendly. Okay, so if guns and strippers are not family friendly, why is Iggy Azalea a saint? Why are movies and rappers amazing?
Why is Cardi B and Offset selling McDonald's meals?
Exactly. If you don't believe, why are drag queen story times with stripping guys in women's clothing okay? Why is that family friendly? All these things are supposed to be the greatest thing in the world and supposed to be celebrated until it comes to athletes. And maybe the reason, now I'm also talking myself into this, is because the people who watch sports are more conservative, but also at the same time, as I also explained to myself in real time, those are more people are more likely to support gun use. So it doesn't really make any sense. And I don't know who they're hiding from. If the NBA decided to be like, let's just not talk about it. Ja Morant had a gun in his thing. Let's just not talk about it. I don't understand why. Yes, people want transparency and things, but there is the fact that we're on a 2-day cycle here in the entire world where people are going to forget about it. So if you really care about this player's image, you really want to protect this image that he's got and the league's got, you say, we disagree with that. Ja Morant has apologized. And then everybody forgets about it.
Yep, moving on.
It doesn't make any sense. And I'm forced to now think that this is all like, Powerade is friends with somebody or with a politician who told them, we can't have people making guns cool, even though we sort of do. We can't have it being made cool in regular life.
And there was another story I read where they actually, they're trying to lob on everything. So he got into a little fight with a young kid. He got into a fight with a 17-year-old. And then, I'm not joking, and I don't know how deep you really dived into, some of the things that this kid has done, or Ja Morant, I should say, but they tried to pin a finger gun that he did when one of his teammates made a 3-pointer, or one of his teammates made a big play, and while he's sitting on the bench.
More peculiar with Ja Morant.
Go ahead.
And they tried to pin him doing a finger gun from the sideline as a bat, as a thing. And then he did a finger gun from the sideline, and he made light of the situation. And just last thing about Stephen A. I do think, as much as I think Stephen A. is a clown character, he makes some good points sometimes. Other times he's just a complete, we see that little compilation of him and was it Greeny? Oh, because I'm a black man, a white man. That little, as annoying as they get, he might have a point here with this FBI thing, right? Like, you would think what I just mentioned, how these markets and the target demographics for the NBA and this rap scene are so similar, and we see that the FBI, as corrupt and crooked as they are, they do have their ear to the street as far as rap is concerned, right? That's why you see YSL, YFN, all these takedowns. It does make total sense that they would also be having their ear to the street as far as some of these NBA guys are concerned, right? So maybe they're obviously not rapping about drugs and guns and stuff all the time, but it does make sense that they would be keeping a tab on them, not only because the NBA is this billion-dollar corporation, but because they, these high-profile people with loads of money are probably, as weird as it sounds, they might be more prone to doing bad things because they do have so much money and they can pay to get rid of it, and they can pay to sweep things under the rug. So I don't know if it's 100% true, but it would make sense what Stephen A is saying, that they're going to keep tabs on you, not just because the NBA wants to maintain an image, but also because at 20 years old and millions of dollars, like, you're going to slip up, and whether it's, I don't know, taxes, taxes, or
pull a Ray Lewis,
I mean, look, I won't go that far, but you
Have
just
you
never
read
know.
that story, Eric?
What about Ray Lewis?
Yes.
Like the classic Ray, or am I thinking Ray
Lewis?
Rice?
No, Ray Lewis may or may not have been involved in a killing. Yeah, okay.
I mean, it's been a long time.
Clothes out. Just don't do that. Maybe that's why they're watching you. Is my point. We're gonna get into another story about a fact check. Elon Musk who's the great Steve Bannon. Well, we'll get into it in a second. UnauthorizedOpinions.com. If you go to uopod.com, you will get this page where you can preview us on Spotify. You can preview us on YouTube, and you can get a link to all of our podcasts and Eric's Instagram and my Instagram. uopod.com. So whether you're listening on Spotify, Apple, or even iHeartRadio or Google Podcasts, leave us a review, give us a rating, and share it. And of course, you're on YouTube, Getter, or Twitter, reshare, resubscribe, subscribe, unsubscribe, but ultimately subscribe in the end. See how I talk my way out of things? And then make sure to share it, and we appreciate you, because it is growing on the YouTube channel. And it turns out that I thought we had ads last summer. Turns out those ads didn't happen. So we're getting ads out there. We appreciate anything you guys can do. So what is this fact check, Eric? If you want to set this up for us, because it's about Elon Musk, if I'm not mistaken. And Steve Bannon came out and said Elon Musk is controlled by China. I don't know if it's that far, but he does, like, his mines are in China. They produce his stuff in China, his mines, which is to say the batteries are assembled in China, and he's got a plant there, so I'm obviously on this podcast isn't an Elon Musk ass kissing, but so many people on Twitter do, and Bannon said something and people had a problem with it, but this had to do with Elon Musk. It was about Jan 6, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, I think it became a little bit more newsworthy because Elon, I believe he reposted it, or he quote tweeted it or something like that. So it's not really about Elon Musk, but Elon Musk injects himself, and then it does become a little bit bigger news. And just like I was saying with Stephen A, like when did we get to this point where you have to agree with everything somebody says? So Stephen A, Charles Barkley, all of these guys, JJ Redick, Kendrick Perkins, they all can make good points at one time and they make stupid points at the next time. We can do it too, right? Somehow they have hollowed out
this. Talk about air conditioning.
Exactly, right? They've hollowed out any sort of nuance. They've hollowed out any sort of middle ground. So it's always just 100% yes or 100% no, which we both know, I should say, is complete nonsense. But this is crazy, straight from the Blaze. This fact check, I believe Don Jr. also reposted it, but you can see the video of this guy walking around the Capitol with, half a dozen Capitol police officers, and the fact check is just so Orwellian. It's like, you didn't just see what you saw. Believe us. Tucker Carlson is a racist, right? Like, it's absolute insanity. And they're grasping at straws. They're latching onto the last possible thing, and it's scary for the establishment, for Elon Musk, because again, even on the establishment left, like, right, he's the electric car guy, so they're supposed to like him, but they don't like him because he does stuff like this. And maybe conservatives are supposed to like him, because he does stuff like this, but then he might be beholden to China. So we can't, and he does these brain chip things. So nobody can trust Elon Musk. He's the richest man in the world, I believe, as of today. I don't know, maybe some other Saudi guy, who knows, but it's the fact check, right, is just it. They will not let go. So they put flags all over a video to tell you that the video of what you just saw isn't that, right? It's so crazy how they do this. I don't know. I mean, have you seen the clip yet? I think it's fairly short, but
Yeah,
I don't
we were
even
just showing it.
and I don't know if we've gotten to the point where you can't even say the word January and a certain number anymore, and then they're going to put a flag on it. And the same thing is happening on YouTube. They're putting flags on YouTube videos about J6. They're putting flags on YouTube videos that mention the word climate. They're putting flags if you say the word reset, right? A certain pair of words, and they put flags on it to let you know that you are not allowed to have a thought on this unless we give you the approved narrative on it. And obviously, notoriously, we saw this. It all started with Rona, right? What was this happening before Rona? I genuinely don't know. I don't remember.
The fact check started with the election, I believe. Like the official ones that would go on Twitter and Instagram posts, I believe they started with election results.
Okay, which was around. I mean, because
2020.
well, they saw it. I don't know if it worked, but they saw people start to. Did this change any minds? Did people fall in line by seeing the flag, or was it just them saying, "Oh"? I mean, I know this is a little bit of a stretch as well, but it reminds me of Boys in the Hood and the crackhead with the cheeseburgers. He's just like, "Come on, man! Come on, man! Just believe me, I got these cheeseburgers, man." You know what I mean? It's just so desperate. It just reeks of desperation, like a crackhead telling you that he'll give you a BJ for a free hit of crack. They're just like, "Come on, man! The narrative is you gotta believe us, man." It's just pathetic. It just reeks of desperation, and I don't think it's actually changing any minds. You have a set of people who are going to believe every single thing that the establishment says, and you have a set of people that are going to question things because they haven't been, or at least they've been able to crawl out of the brainwashing, or maybe they never were brainwashed or whatever it is. But is this taking anybody from a critical thinking state? And I mean that not as like a high and mighty like critical thinker, just like somebody who can see this and be like, wait a minute, it doesn't take. I'm not anybody who questions this stuff is not by default a smart person. It's just like it's a regular position to just be like, hey, actually, this doesn't really seem. You know what I mean? It's not. It doesn't make you a smart person. It's just like, do you have the capacity to even think a tiny bit about what's being fed to you? And do these flags take any one of those people into the brainwashed cult world? Does it? I doubt it. Who is it for?
For our wonderful audio listeners, it's the January 6th video of the Q guy with the horns. I forget what his real name, but he's the shaman.
Chansley.
And they really made him into like the evil face of it. Like, look at this crazy guy. He's, as if he's like leading a parade of people. And so, like, I don't know, there was footage that came out like when it happened. Like, there were so many bloggers and streamers there that you could watch it all, and obviously nobody's going to agree with like storm the building, but everybody was also like, hey, they're letting some people in somewhere. And then you got the lies about that the police officer died when it was actually just the one girl who got shot. And then you've got the FBI informants and the 3%ers informants and the Oath Keepers informants. You got Ray F. So you got all these things. And then, but on top of that, you sort of had this guy who's in jail for a long time. And if you didn't know where to look, you would sort of just think that he's like a crazy guy wreaking havoc. And whether you shot, like, I don't think that somebody could watch any of the stuff that was already out and think he should be in jail. But I think what happened is they probably walked him around so they could say, look at all these, like on paper, look at all these places he went to. So what they showed was him being escorted around by 2 Capitol police officers. Whether that was a setup or not, I don't know. I don't think anybody but the people there know. And then you have fact checkers saying, fact check from Lead Stories, which I believe is the Facebook one that's owned by people who work for China. No evidence. Jacob Chansley was led through Capitol by police entire time using the building. See, the thing they're using is entire time.
Yep.
So if he spent a second in the building, not escorted around, then, but nobody's claiming that. Then we got PolitiFact, who says it's also false. Evidence rebutes Tucker Carlson's claim about Capitol Police acting as tour guides to QAnon shaman. I don't know what rebutes that. Nobody said that they're actual tour guides, that he paid them to take him around the building. This is the problem. This comes back to the Hillary Clinton did not actually acid wash her servers. She used a thing called bleach bit. Like, that's the game you have to play with them because they're liars. And they're paid to fact check. Like, you could pay anyone to fact check anyone, and they're going to find a way to claim that they're wrong. I'm looking out the window right now. It kind of looks like it's raining. Fact check, false. At 6:03 p.m. Eastern, local weather reports were not reporting rain. Like, that sort of thing. Like, and then you got AFP fact checker who says false. Tucker Carlson falsely claims police helped Trump supporter. Like, that could mean anyone. And what do you mean by help? So, like, there's no real point about this. The point about this is to have 3 fact checks that say, no, this is wrong in some way. And before you watch the video, click on this. And I don't know, I would literally like to see the percentages, of people who opened this page, opened this link, and then versus clicked on the post, click through, they see why, and then they click the post, or people who just immediately click the post, or people who click the false information and then leave. Like, there's several categories you could see: clicked on, clicked through everything, clicked the warning, and then clicked off, or just didn't click anything.
And there's another warning when I shared it to you. When I sent it to you, it says, this post has been fact checked. Are you sure you want to send it? So there's that extra layer of saying,
let me open it in a different. It won't be on my end, though, I guess, right?
No, but if you try to send it to somebody else, like, even if you just send it to your backup account, it'll probably say, this post has been fact checked. Are you sure you want to share it?
Let me see here. Gotta go through our LeBron James rituals, all of our basketball clips. Me talking about an airport, a buff woman. We send each other too many things.
No, but this should just be the brand, like a brand. Didn't I send this to you like this morning?
No. It's been. Oh, no, that was one. Something's been deleted.
Oh, hang on.
Imagine it wasn't there, but I found it through this.
9:21 a.m. Oh,
today?
Yeah. You went back way too far. But
okay.
I know on my end, and I don't know, maybe this doesn't happen to everybody.
It says message unavailable.
Really?
Is it right above where you said what a waste of a trip to New York City?
No, that was days ago, bro. You went. Oh wow, that was a stupid video. So I'm glad that one got deleted.
Well, what was the message? Is it after the Giannis thing I sent you?
Yes, it says this is
not
insane.
Here, dude.
Which are you on? Andrew Says or Andrew Does? Or I always get
Does.
That's why you're on. Wait,
I'm on the wrong one. Did you message me this morning on the other account? Bear with us, everybody. We're trying to figure out the conspiracy here.
I'm just gonna send it to you again right now.
Okay.
I'm just gonna send it to you again right now. And it's giving me, I've already watched it, but it's still telling me every single time, share anyways. False information in post, share anyways. And
you're
then
sending it on which account?
Your regular account.
Okay, now I got it. Yeah, okay. It's gone, dude. It's not anywhere else. Okay, now it's showing up. It's showing up, Eric. Now it's showing up that you sent it again. Red alert. How could I have missed it 2 seconds ago? I said, is it before or after the Giannis thing? And it wasn't there.
Look, I don't know. I didn't. Maybe.
No, I'm telling you, dude. I'm not stupid. I was just looking at it.
Your tinfoil hat.
I said, is it before or after the Giannis thing? And in the window where I'm looking at Giannis, you can see the thing. Like, I can see the previous one at 12:21 or 12:20 p.m. today. For me, it's 9 a.m. for you.
Yeah,
it wasn't there 2 seconds ago, dude. Not since you just sent this to me. This is wild, Eric.
look, I don't know if this is a story or not. Are they actively trying to, I mean, they're trying to go Hunter Biden on this thing? Like they're trying to stop you from sharing the link. They're trying to stop you. I mean, because look, we saw Chuck Schumer, right? I know we're going long now, but we saw Chuck Schumer literally get up on behind a podium and say, the Tucker Carlson, and even Mitch McConnell, who is now concussed or something, he's in the hospital. Different story. And they're like, these this footage, it's like they're this is like with Fauci, right? When their little soapbox collapses under them. Of course, nothing will happen. We all see it. We can all watch the narrative collapse and nothing happens. They just keep
I'm gonna close it and open it again and see what happens.
But try to
I
share it
promise
with
you I was
somebody.
there.
Try to share it with your other account or try to share it with somebody else and see if it asks you, it says false information. Do you want to share it? So there's like 4 levels of them. Somebody at headquarters, somebody at Meta or Facebook or Instagram or whatever should be like, oh, are we laying it on a little bit thick here? Like
Yeah,
maybe
it warns you with the same fact check when you try to send it.
yeah. So like, are you sure you want to share this? Like nobody in that office, nobody in that building thought maybe, oh, is it the Streisand effect? Maybe we shouldn't go, like, it wouldn't be that big of a deal until you guys start screaming about how we can't let this, like, guys, you're desperate. You reek of desperation and you look like a crackhead trying to sell something. You know what I mean? You look like a San Francisco crackhead outside of a Walgreens selling something that you just stole, right? You know, RIP Takeoff, man.
It's true. It's
are you saving those? Or are you not
at the bottom? Yeah.
Are you not gonna?
The bag's broken at the bottom. This is bullshit. I just had
So
a
now
piece
you
of
have
chips
to
fall
eat
on
them.
Yeah, exactly. It's compromised. Or I could just reseal it or something. But we'll go to the convenience store around the corner from me when you get here, and we'll look for some more wrap snacks. I'm interested to see how you feel about our society up here. There's not going to be anybody yelling at you like in New York City or anything.
Yeah, did I tell you? Well, I'll end it here. Since just because you mentioned screaming in New York, when I first got to Brooklyn, and I thought I saw these 2 girls screaming at each other outside of a corner store, and I thought they were about to fight, but they're just friends. That's how they talk to each other. Because California is not like that at all. You know, like nobody. You know, first of all, we don't even have corner store. Like completely cultural difference, and we'll have to figure out a way to sort of to highlight the differences there. But we do have a working list of questions and topics and all sorts of fun stuff that
I started writing it down on real paper too.
Dude, all right. Again, I know we're going long. And shout out to anybody who makes it to the end of this. I have 2 notepads, bro. I have one notepad for my own YouTube video topics, and I have another notepad for questions, trip questions. It's top secret. I don't want to give out too much information, but I'm analog. I think that's sort of also become the theme of this video, is just me being a grumpy old man, not going the way of Twitter, not going the way of dating apps, and not going the way of putting everything onto my cell phone, but having a pad and a pen.
You need one of those phone cases that's looks like a cassette tape. UOPod.com, report and opine on Instagram. Andrew does, DOES on Instagram. Andrew says TV.com. Read my stuff on the Blaze. If you're watching on YouTube, Twitter, or Getter, please share this. Please subscribe on YouTube so we can keep growing there. And of course, on all the streaming platforms, if you're listening in your car or just while you're working out, just know that I'm thinking of you, all sweaty, working out. Diddy?
Show feet.
Yeah, hashtag show feet. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. We love you guys. And we're going to be doing content together in the same room very soon. Anything else, Eric?
Obviously, you got to buy my book. It only gets better with time. Never forget what they took from us in 2020. New York City, 2020, Gotham Unglued. It's getting better with age, and it'll make you think, right? This will let you know that these people have been manipulating us for much longer than we even realize.
You gotta buy his book. They didn't want you to buy it.
It's
the greatest book of all time.
It's the greatest book. It's amazing.
You're getting good. Me and my roommate always do the Trump rally streaming. They didn't want you to do it. The Chinese.
it up, Jordan.